What's going on, guys? This is Martyrs Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Dark Souls commentary. Alright guys, so we're back at it. Just a few clips, nothing particularly special. So this time around I just want to talk about some of the differences that I've seen in approaches to PvP. So I think the games have been out for like, what, 3 weeks? Yeah, about 3 weeks, almost 4. And, you know, as you guys can see, you know, I've been having my share of invasions, a lot of successes, a lot of failures. I've been PvPing with friends, and I've been dabbling in and out of the arena, right? Which today, the day of this upload, I did not have a good day. I ran into some really experienced players in there. Hell Servant 23 was in there. That guy demolished me. I think I drawed with him once, and he just, beat me into the ground after that. And there were some other good players that I ran into. You know, got some losses, got some draws. You know, and it is what it is. So I've basically been kind of everywhere. You know, every now and then I'm in the township. Sometimes I'm in the burg, right? Maybe not a long time, but I do dabble in and out of the burg. For the most part, however, I actually prefer to PvP with friends. Now, given that I'm always trying to find material for videos, I haven't always PvP'd with my friends as often as I would like to. But I actually prefer to PvP with friends more than anything. Now, there's pros and cons that come with this. You know, one of the pros is you basically play with like-minded individuals, right? You tend to play with people who play the exact same way or similar to the way that you play. They often share the same mentality, right? The downside to this is, as I said before, you tend to focus on a one-dimensional play style, right? So in other words, if I'm always casual, right, I'm not going to necessarily brush up on my chain defense or my backstab defense, right? Because I take for granted that my friends are not going to backstab fish. You know, if you're playing with like-minded casual players, you're probably going to think like, well, hey, they're not going to chain, right? Because we're playing with friends. We're not trying to, we're not in a tournament or anything. Now, the downside to only playing with people who are like-minded as yourself, you know, especially for the casual players, especially for them, by the time they get into some type of competitive situation, a lot of times they get sauced, right? And the reason why they get sauced is because a lot of the things that you may face in a more competitive situation, you might not face when you're with your friends. So you might not be brushing up on some of those things that would prepare you for, let's just say, tournaments, right? Or some other type of competition. Same thing on the far end, right? You have the, highly experienced group. Because they only play with other highly experienced players, right? They tend to shun people who are not as experienced, right? Or they tend to play as if it's always a tournament, right? So you can't even have anything casual because they want to optimize everything, right? And hey, there's nothing wrong with either one because, the way I see it, there's 3 types of players. You have the super experienced, right? You have the people who not only are they, and this is all games, may it be Destiny. You have some people who go through, a raid who have the time to sit down for 6 or 7 hours at a time to figure out a raid and all the in and outs of it and shortcuts and whatnot. So may it be Destiny, may it be Dark Souls 1, 2, or 3, may it be Bloodborne. You have some players who actually have a lot of time to master all the in and outs of that particular game, right? Then you have people who are competitive, but they don't necessarily have that time. Players like me, once again, a dirty, nasty, simpleton, peon casual like myself. Our schedules do not allow for these type of things. So, whereas we do enjoy the games that we play and we do enjoy the competition that comes with it, right? For a variety of reasons, we will almost never reach that second layer, right, of proficiency, right? I mean, mainly because, I mean, we have lives. You know, and it's not to suggest that people don't have lives. I'm just kind of being funny, but at the same time being serious. Then you have the super casual, which are basically people who, you know, they find out about a game on IGN or GameStop. They read reviews, they get it, play it with their friends. They have fun with it. You know, they do co-op because they can chat with their friends. You know, and why not play a game with your friends and you can chat at the same time? You know, you may do a little ganking in between, but hey, I mean, it's not like you're trying to be the PvP god. You're basically just trying to get platinum, you know, maybe have 1 or 2 playthroughs, and then you're done with it. Off to the next one. So the longevity basically comes with the first 2 classes, right? The super experience and the casual. Right, what I would consider to be casual. So in my off time, what I'll often do is check out streams. You know, streams, YouTube videos, streams such as Yuka's Legion. Right, I follow his stream. Hell Servant, he's another person whose stream I follow. Suicidal, Saint Riot, somebody from Dark Souls 3. And actually, I was watching his Dark Souls 3 videos even when I wasn't playing the game myself. I think he has a lot of good content. Maybe one of these days I'll get that guy in for a battle of the uploaders, but maybe that's wishful thinking. We'll see. Okay, so be that as it may. So, and checking out all these streams and channels, I ran into 2 YouTube channels. I don't know if they're Japanese. Let's just say they're Asian, and they were pretty much like a mixed bag. You can tell by the tactics that they were using that they were extremely experienced, right? One example, they really utilized a lot of kicks. For a lot of those guys like to twist around in and out, and, you know, they're trying to BS you. One thing that I noticed, they were stopping a lot of BSs basically from just doing a lot of kicks. Now, when I say doing a lot of kicks, I'm not suggesting that they would spam kick. But when they sensed someone was trying to pivot in for a BS or some other type of attack, one thing that I noticed that shut a lot of those things down was, I mean, ravioli stepping in a different direction, or kicking, as I said. A lot of them, they toggled almost everything. One of the differences, though, I noticed in those 2 channels, and of course I'll put the link to those channels in the description box. The difference that I noticed in those channels versus a lot of the people that I run into in some of the channels that I watch myself, these guys seem to not care about full optimization, right? A lot of the quote-unquote top tiers that we may know about, some of the big names that you guys may know about, if you watch them, it seems as though they focus on a lot of optimization, right? Let me get the best defenses. Let me get the quote-unquote best weapon. You know, I have to build my build to a certain poise breakpoint, right? This seems to be a lot of our mentalities. Whereas on these Japanese channels, on the other hand, and again, I'll put a link to those channels in the description box. One thing that I noticed is a lot of those guys were running like 0 poise, right? And if it wasn't 0, it was definitely under 36. In some cases, and actually very rarely would I see them using just some peon armor and maybe a wolf ring, but definitely nothing more than 40. These guys were never locked on. They toggled everything. They pivoted everything. Really good with defense, right? Really good with, I mean, they were really good with a lot of things. And when I watched that, I said, you know what? This is actually, no matter how many hornet rings they're doing, and I mean, jumping and darkwood graining, and no matter what they do, it was actually far more entertaining to watch them not fully optimized, not using the best equipment, not using quote unquote the best weapon in the game, watching them completely destroy gankers in the forest, multiple spirits of vengeance as a grave lord. It was extremely entertaining to watch their gameplay, because on one hand, they were obviously experienced. They obviously were familiar with all the tech. But on the other hand, they weren't so serious with optimization to where they had to have the quote-unquote best of everything. So, I think one thing that kind of appealed to me as I watched those channels is that's kind of like the player that I want to be. Number one, whereas I don't necessarily have time to be a master at a lot of these things, I think watching a lot of these, what you might call casual channels, give you a lot of motivation for ways that you can improve, right? One example is I'm actually going to do a playthrough of never locking on. I'm going to do some invasions of never locking on, because, and whereas I do know that I will have a lot of failures, which I have because I've been practicing it for like the last day or two. Eventually there will become a time where I will be able to overcome some of these obstacles. Doing invasions at very low ports. I mean, those guys didn't become masters overnight. So hey, check out these channels. I hope you guys get inspired like I was as I was watching them. And once again, I'll put a link to those channels in the description box. And this is just a short video, just a little, just trying to spark some ideas out there. And hey, until next time, Martyrs Brigade is out.